I can't believe it's week 12, but you've come to the right place because we're going to do a dive into every Big Ten team, every Big Ten game. Then we go on the record with our Pigskin Picks. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Shemon, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that would help us out too. Plus, you can hype YouTube videos as well. So, week 12, we're going to take a look at every single team, every single game of the Big Ten. Plus, we'll preview our weekend plans to go live. And we'll go on the record with our Pigskin Picks. We do that each and every week. We're not afraid. We're not afraid to do it. Put it on the record. It's here forever. Minnesota, Friday night at number 8, Oregon, tonight. So, Oregon 8-1, 5-1 in the Big Ten. Minnesota 6-3, 4-2 in the Big Ten. This is at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. If you're out in Oregon, it's on Fox, the big network, so you can check that out. Friday Night Lights, Big Ten After Dark, whatever you want to call it. But the Ducks are coming off that amazing 18-16 win in a cold rain against number 21 Iowa in front of a nationally televised audience. We all saw it was a great football game. Hero Atticus Sappington kicking the game-winning field goal in the inclement weather with 3 seconds to go. I think a season-saving, certainly postseason-saving kick for the Oregon Ducks. And, not to look ahead to even bigger game next week, but they do host number 17 USC next week. That's going to be huge as well. But this game first, we'll talk about this because Minnesota, I got to be honest, a hard team to figure out. And, there was their best win of the year where they had an 18-point win over Nebraska, but they got destroyed by an Iowa team that the Ducks just beat at the buzzer by 38 points. That game was. And they beat a bad Michigan State team in overtime a couple of weeks ago. So they can do that. But PJ Fleck is a good football coach, and they've had a bye week to get ready for this game, which is interesting. They have a good young quarterback in Drake Lindsey, and the Gophers' strength is their running game. Darius Taylor and the recent emergence of E.G. Boyfame. Very exciting running back room there for the Minnesota Gophers. And the Ducks, every once in a while, they'll give up a few yards on the ground. So Minnesota will try and come in and run the ball. Defense is pretty decent, too, at Minnesota. Although, a lot of weapons to choose from when you need to go head-to-head against Oregon. Although, some of them are banged up. We'll get into that here in just a second. I was pretty impressed with the Ducks running game in the weather out there at Iowa. More so than the Iowa running game, to be honest. Noah Whittington, 17 carries, 118 yards, and Jordan Davison had 8 carries for 52 yards. So that's pretty good. Dante Moore did not have a good day throwing in that weather. And now, coming back home, the wide receiver core is getting a little thinner. And Dan Lanning really wasn't too helpful this week. Coaches rarely are regarding information on injuries, the health of tight end Kenyon Sadiq, wide receiver Dakorien Moore. Moore was ruled out of the Iowa game with the knee. Sadiq and Harkey were held out, and wide receiver Gary Bryant Jr. got hurt in that game. So basically all Dan Lanning said is, hey, if they're ready, they'll play. Thank you very much. So we'll see if they're walk onto the field. So plus it's a short week going from Saturday to Friday. That should be a little bit of an advantage for the Ducks since they're the home team. Don't have to do the day of travel. So just as long as they're not looking ahead to next week's game against USC. Saturday's action. We got Wisconsin at number 2 Indiana, 12 o'clock Eastern on the Big Ten Network. The Hoosiers undefeated, 10-0. Their amazing, heart-stopping, thrilling come-from-behind win against Penn State. Quarterback Fernando Mendoza certainly won some Heisman votes with that performance, with that game-winning drive. Omar Cooper's catch, the back of the end zone. The college football world's still buzzing about that catch. And the Hoosiers needed Cooper because their leading receiver, Elijah Surratt, had been nursing a hamstring the past couple of games. He's still day-to-day. I don't know that we expect to see him on Saturday. The Hoosiers will be out without their guard, Drew Evans, for a few more weeks. He's missed the last 2 games. Wisconsin, on the other hand, is coming off their first win since beating Middle Tennessee State on September 6th. And they beat last week ranked Washington 13-10. Kind of an ugly game, but that's how Wisconsin's going to be able to do it. They're not going to win in a shootout. Plus more injuries at quarterback. Now, Luke Fickell, who recently learned he will be returning as the head coach for the Badgers next season, is now calling on his 4th starting quarterback of the season, with Carter Smith getting his first career start. He is a Bishop Verot product from Southwest Florida. He originally committed verbally to Jim Harbaugh in his last year at Michigan. Was an early verbal commit, and had been committed through the process up to about this time last year, when word got out that Sherrone Moore was going all in on Bryce Underwood. So Carter Smith bailed. He ended up at Wisconsin. Now you get to see him. And if there's one area that Wisconsin has some talent, it's on the defensive side of the ball, hence holding Washington to 10 points. But they're going to have their hands full with the Hoosiers offense. There's no question about it on this one. We'll take a look at this one closer in our Pigskin Picks. Number 18, Michigan is taking on Northwestern, noon on Fox. It's a big noon game on Fox. It's at Wrigley Field. Remember, Northwestern's finishing up building a new stadium. They've been playing on campus, but for these big games with these, blue blood teams, if you will, they've been playing them at Wrigley. And the Wolverines are coming off getting a bit of a home scare against Purdue in Michigan's 21-16 win, then the bye week. And they're going to be taking on a scrappy Northwestern team that needs just one more win to become bowl eligible. And Wrigley Field, not the best footing of surfaces for football. We'll see. In the meantime, speaking of that, coming off the bye, not enough time now for running back Justice Haynes, who has a foot injury, ankle injury with the Wolverines. He's going to need more time. Jordan Marshall, though, is more than able and capable of producing 100-yard games. That's what he does. But since he's the main guy now, they kind of want to spare him a little bit. You'll see some running from freshman running back Jasper Parker. Bryson Kudzol will also get more work on Saturday afternoon. I'm also curious, and maybe you are too, to see if there's a little bit more improvement here coming off a bye week where you get to get a little breather, clean things up, work on stuff instead of always preparing for the next game, from quarterback Bryce Underwood, the freshman quarterback. Coming off a bye, usually those are constructive times for young players. Meanwhile, Northwestern, again, looking for one more win to become bowl eligible. And they have some nice wins already against Penn State, of course. That was big. Purdue, UCLA. But if they don't get the win Saturday and they're looking for that one win for a bowl game, they close out at home against Minnesota and then on the road at Illinois. That is their remaining schedule. As far as Northwestern goes, they will lean heavily on running back Caleb Komalafi, who averages over 5 yards a carry and has 8 touchdowns. He's done a nice job at running back. So those are the early games. We have the late afternoon games and then the primetime games I still want to talk about. And I'll give you some deets on when we're going live on Saturday here on Locked On Big Ten. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button, though, so you never miss a single episode. And you'll get alerted when we go live, so you don't miss out on all of that. We also ask if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. That'd be a big help as well. Don't forget, we have a website, talkbig10.com. We put all of our podcasts on there. You can go back and check out yesterday's podcast if you missed it for a second listen. We also have links there. You click on your school logo for your favorite team, and boom, school merchandise, shirts with your school logo on it, pennants, hats, all that stuff. Just in time for the holidays. You can check it out at talkbig10.com while you're checking out a second listen on our podcast. All right. I want to look at these other games. Got Iowa and USC. We got Ohio State under the lights. We do it. And then we make our pigskin picks. All that coming up as we go on the record here on a Friday edition of Locked On Big Ten. So it's basically the weekend, and it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered. Powered by DoorDash. And just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. So let's break it down. I think it's simple. We're still buzzing about it. I just talked about him. Omar Cooper with that catch in the back of the end zone for Indiana. Fernando Mendoza with the throw and the drive. Season on the brink. Those guys delivered in a big, big way. And just like they delivered, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday that you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. So order this Saturday, every Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. We always appreciate you, especially you everydayers. And thank all of you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that would help us out too. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. More games, every team, every game, Big Ten right here. Number 21, Iowa is at number 17, USC. It's a 3:30 Eastern kickoff, 12:30 Pacific. This is the game we have chosen this week to go live after for my immediate live real-time action reaction to this game. And we'll talk about the other games that took place at the Big Ten as well and preview the night games. All live on Saturday. Mark your calendar. I anticipate we'll go live at about, when this one's over, about 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now, unless you're an Oregon fan, you got to feel bad for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They left everything on the field in Saturday's 18-16 loss to Oregon. Iowa's a good football team, like a really good football team. Playoff caliber football team. Their 3 losses are a 3-point loss at Iowa State, a 5-point loss to number 2 Indiana, and last week's last-second loss to top 10 Oregon. This is a good football team, but it will be interesting to see how they bounce back from such a disappointment. You know, I was talking with Locked On Hawkeyes Trent Condon during our squad show this week, and he said, you know, the team's really down this week. They're having a hard time shaking it off. And we all know about the saying, you know, don't let a team beat you twice, you know, the actual game and then your next opponent. One advantage that the Hawkeyes have is last week's rain is going to follow them to Southern California. It's supposed to be like a 5-day deluge out there. Pretty rare, but it does happen. I used to live out there. The Hawkeyes can rely on their running game. But USC also has a pretty good running game. Walk-on freshman running back, King Miller, taking advantage of playing time with all the injuries ahead of him on the depth chart, been phenomenal. Give this kid a scholarship. I don't know what they're waiting for. And on another note, USC needs to run the table to get Lincoln Riley and company into the playoffs. That's where they're at here. And like I said, Iowa's really good, and they're ranked. Don't overlook them. The Trojans better not be doing it, because guess what? It's real easy to overlook them, not just because they're Iowa. I didn't mean that at all. Their next game is against Oregon, and that's going to be for all the marbles. I think that's a playoff elimination game, in my opinion. I think if USC wins it, they get in the playoffs. Might knock Oregon out. If Oregon wins it, they're solidly in, and then all the heat on Lincoln Riley starts coming down because he won't be in the playoffs again. That's how big that is. So don't overlook this week to get the next week. Meanwhile, Penn State is at Michigan State. That's at 3:30 on CBS Eastern Time. It's pretty simple here. It's November, and neither team has a Big Ten win. Now, Penn State played great a couple of weeks ago in the first half against Ohio State, and they played great in the second half against Indiana until they gave up that last drive in the last 2 minutes in which the Hoosiers won the game. This is a good enough team to have been ranked number 2 in the preseason, loaded with future NFL talent. They've just had a disastrous season. Michigan State might be in trouble here taking out Penn State. They look like the sleeping giant that's waking up. I've been saying this for 2 weeks in a row. They almost caught Indiana. They almost got them. I think they're going to come in Michigan State and be pretty upset. As far as the Spartans go, in addition to the on-the-field struggles, the NCAA just took 14 wins away from them. We did another separate podcast on that today, a little more detail if you want to check it out here on this Locked On Big Ten channel. But they took 14 wins away over the last 3 seasons, dating to infractions committed by Mel Tucker's staff. And I think it's very unfair. I always give you my opinion. I think it's very unfair that this reached into last year, which was Jonathan Smith's first year, and they took away his 5 wins. I mean, the guy's struggling to get wins. He just took 5 of them away. He wasn't even there. One interesting decision to make here for the Spartans is a quarterback. Of course, Aiden Childs, who came with Smith from Oregon State, he'd been benched recently in favor of their redshirt freshman, Alessio Milivojevic. I expect both will see the field on Saturday, to be honest. Meanwhile, Maryland is at Illinois. That's at 3:30 Eastern on FS1. Boy, does Maryland need a win here. They need a win. They start out 4-0. They never trailed in those 4 games. I think they got the longest winning streak of non-conference wins, like 18 in all of college football right now. But now they've dropped 5 straight. Mike Laxley is getting questions in press conferences about whether he thinks he's coaching for his job. He's got a new athletic director. I mean, it's all dicey right there. By the way, if a move is made at the end of the year, they might risk losing their star freshman quarterback, Malik Washington, who I think will be the Big Ten freshman of the year, in my opinion. They got a number 1 recruit coming in offensive line next year. He's from Maryland. He's staying. Will he stay if Loxley's gone? There's a lot of questions at Maryland. Meanwhile, Illinois has had the craziest season in the Big Ten. The blowout loss to Indiana, the huge blown lead against USC, only to come back and win that game. Pretty sizable losses to Ohio State and Washington, and the Washington team that just lost to Wisconsin. By the way, it's been crazy. 2 weeks ago, they got right with a blowout win over Rutgers, and now they're facing a desperate Maryland team. Got to be very careful here if you're Brett Bielema and the Fighting Illini. Purdue is at Washington. This is a night game, 7 o'clock. Well, it's a night game out east. The game's played out west. Don't let me confuse you more. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific out at Washington. It's on FS1. Purdue actually led Ohio State 3-0 in the second quarter last week, but then Ohio State became Ohio State, and they scored on 4 straight possessions. And now Purdue flies out west, take on a talented and banged up and ticked off Washington team. They're ticked off because of the unexpected loss to Wisconsin. But they are banged up. Running back Jonah Coleman is questionable with a knee. Denzel Boston, the wide receiver, is questionable with an ankle, just to mention a few. One of their linemen is hurt, but their safety is hurt. So this team is really probably going to have to rely on quarterback Damon Williams for sure, who I like very much. All right, and then another night game. UCLA is out east at number 1, Ohio State. That'll be the NBC game of the week. NBC Big Ten Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific for those of you back in Los Angeles watching UCLA. You all know UCLA had a bit of a resurgence after firing their coach, Deshaun Foster. But then they got blown out after winning 3 games. Got blown out at number 2 Indiana a couple weeks ago. Now, yay, they get to go from number 2 Indiana to number 1 Ohio State. Sidebar here. The last time UCLA quarterback Nico Iamaleava played at the Horseshoe, he was quarterbacking Tennessee. Pretty bad playoff loss to Ohio State. It wasn't pretty, so we'll see how he does here. As far as the Buckeyes are concerned, Julian Sayin is completing north of 80% of his passes. It seems like every week we look at the box score, boom, 300 yards, 4 more touchdowns. He's incredible. He takes care of the ball. He is in every bit as much of the Heisman race as Fernando Mendoza for sure. And still no news on the availability or lack thereof regarding wide receiver Carnell Tate, who seemed to tweak a hammy in warmups before the Purdue game that kept him out. We'll see. Good for Buckeyes fans on this one because it's a nighttime game at home on national TV. That never happens anymore. Ohio State's good. They're popular. They usually get picked by the networks first, usually big noon on Fox, a lot of noon games at home. So they've been clamoring for these night games, and here's one of them right here. So 7:30 Eastern, under the lights, national television, Ohio State. Buckeye fans, enjoy the atmosphere. It should be pretty spectacular. Quick note here before we circle back and talk about our Pigskin Picks for the weekend. I want to just highlight just a couple of men's basketball games. That's started now. Tonight, Friday, number 5, Arizona at number 15, UCLA. That's at 10 o'clock Eastern on Peacock. Saturday, an interesting game. If it were a football game, basketball game, Oklahoma is at Nebraska. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern on the Big Ten Network. And Sunday, Notre Dame is at Ohio State. That's at 12:30 Eastern on FS1. Just wanted to throw that your way as well. All right, we always go on the record on Fridays, everybody. our Pigskin Picks. Every team, every game, point spreads, overs, totals, unders, we have it all. It's all coming up here in 1 minute on Locked On Big Ten. Watching games is exciting. It's what we do as fans. It's why we're fans. We get excited. You get even more excited with FanDuel. Get a little something on it. NBA season is back, and there's no better place to get into the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of a game and you're rolling in or you're flipping through the channels and you want to jump in a game that's already started, no problem. FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine those live bets into same game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. And it keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So jump in. My hot tip of the week, Miami Heat and overs. They score a lot of points. I know you're used to Miami grinding it out, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra type teams. No, man, this team scores. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. Let's do this. We always have a feature at the end of our program, and we always do top 10 observations on Monday, Big Ten top 10 observations, Tuesdays, Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we always do our power rankings. Thursdays, we look at Big Ten classics and live action. And Fridays, we go on the record with our Pigskin Picks. Let's put this up here, and we'll go full screen with this. You can check this out. We'll start off with the Friday game. Minnesota at number 8, Oregon. The number is 25.5, and the over-under is 44.5. Here's how I think this game is going to go. And I told you at the beginning that Minnesota is a tough team to figure out. Now, they've had a couple of games where they've gotten blown out when they play good teams. Oregon is a good team. Is Oregon spent from its game last week at Iowa? I think the home cooking, I think Oregon gets on a roll here. I'd be a lot more comfortable if this were like 21, like 3 touchdowns. But I'll go with it. I'll say they at some point in the game get a 4-touchdown lead, a 28-point lead, and they hold on and they cover this. And if they score that much, I don't think Minnesota will score that much. So I would take the under 44.5 in case this gets to be, I don't know, like a 35 to 7 game, something like that. Does that check out? Yeah, that's under. All right, that's our shot. Bold and fearless predictions. Let's go to Saturday. We got Wisconsin at number 2, Indiana. Indiana is a 28.5-point favorite, and the number is 44.5. Kind of the same deal as the Minnesota-Oregon game. Very similar lines. And, yeah, I think Indiana covers. I think they're going to come back off of that Penn State game. Now, is it letdown for Indiana? Letting a sigh out? Go, close call. Wisconsin kind of muddy it up like they did, I don't know, when they went to Michigan in the first half. I think Indiana will get this dialed in because it's at home. It's their last home game of the season. I think they're going to thrive off of that. They'll cover this. And I don't think Wisconsin scores enough to help get this game over 44.5. So there. Michigan, number 18, Michigan at Northwestern, 11.5 and 41.5. I don't think Michigan covers this number. I think this is a 7-point, 10-point game. I don't think it's 2 touchdowns or anything like that. So Michigan wins, but they don't cover the 11.5. And another game that I would go under, 41.5, even though that's a pretty low number. But I think that's just how it's going to be. I think it's going to be a little slugfest for a little while out there at Wrigley. The game we're going to go live after, the number 21 Iowa at number 17 USC. USC is a 6.5-point favorite, and the number is 48.5. Again, I wonder if Iowa is so let down that they have trouble getting going. I think USC will win this game. This will be a little bit similar to the USC game against Northwestern on a Friday night. Was that last week? Kind of close at the half, and then USC pulls away. I think the same thing happens here. They certainly cover by a touchdown. Now, the big question is the weather and the point total here. Because we do have to do, it's going to be raining, but I think both teams score a lot of points. Even Iowa can score. I know the Oregon game was a little different, But yeah, I think this one I take the over. Penn State at Michigan State. Penn State is a 7.5-point favorite, and the number is 48.5. This is the one. One of these teams is going to win a Big Ten game. They haven't yet. Neither. This is the game that Penn State explodes. This is the game. They played very well against Ohio State, at least for the first half. They played very well against Indiana. And those were two super good teams, a couple of the best defenses in the country. Michigan State does not have one of the best defenses in the country. Penn State's going to explode on this game. I think it's going to be ugly. They covered the 7.5, and this game flies past the over. It's going to be a big number for Penn State. This is going to be their get-right game, their wake-up-from-our-nightmare game. That's what this is going to be all about on that game. I actually feel bad for Michigan State in this game. That's how I think that's going to go. Maryland is at Illinois. Both these teams need a win. I'm going to tell you right now, let's start the other column first. The 53.5, take the over. This is my strongest pick of the week. Both of these teams are going to put some points on the board. I don't think Illinois covers the 14.5, though. Give me Maryland at the points. Illinois wins, but does not cover. And these two, both of them together, they scream over the 53.5. Purdue at Washington. I think Washington's going to want to take out some frustration on Purdue. They've got some injured players, though, but Washington's a much different team at home. So I think they cover the 15.5 over Purdue. I don't think Purdue scores enough for this game to get over 51.5. So I would take the under, but Washington wins comfortably. And then UCLA at number 1, Ohio State. 31.5 is a lot of points. I think it's just a smidge too many because I think Ohio State's going to win by like 28. I don't think they're going to get over 31.5. I don't know how much UCLA is going to score against this Ohio State defense. So here's another game. If you notice, I'm taking a lot of unders. Yeah. Very interesting. And remember, Ohio State did not cover against Purdue. I don't know that they're going to cover against UCLA, which I think is better than Purdue. Nico returning back, though, going to be interesting. So that's my take on all those. Let me know what you think. We put ourselves on the record each and every week with our Pigskin Picks every Friday here on Locked On Big Ten. We're here every day, multiple podcasts every day. We go live on Saturdays. We have the latest news, analysis of that news, and opinion of that news. You just heard me. I'm not afraid to give my opinion. I'll take yours too. We're here every day. And I also know that if you're checking us out, you're probably a Big Ten fan. I know you know other Big Ten people. Let them know we're out here every single day. Hit that little share arrow and send us their way so they know that we're out here every day. We're on Twitter X at Talk Big Ten. Our website, talkbig10.com, talkbig10.com for podcasts and school merchandise if you want it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go, though. That really helps us out as well. And also, I'll let you know that for you college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 anchors the conversation along with two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and our Locked On experts all come together and bring you everything you need to know about the games each and every week. The college football preview only Locked On can do. You can catch the College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. Well, there it is. We've gone through another week. We've set the table again, and now it's just up to watching the games, and we're back to talk about them. Catch us live after Iowa and USC. We'll be back Monday with a complete recap as well after the weekend. We're loaded. We can't wait. We're getting into crunch time here in the season. That'll do it. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for checking us out. I'll talk to you next time. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Shemon.